What's up, guys? This is going to be the weekly betting recap episode number 10, coming off of UFC Rio Rancho this past weekend. Definitely another wild card, but no robberies on this one. The robberies were replaced with some illegal knees. So the MMA gods have been fierce in 2020. A lot of crazy things have been happening. We've had a bunch of robberies. I think that was last week's card. And then to follow it up with two DQs from illegal knees on the same card. Next week we'll have two draws. Um, but we'll talk about the knees first because this bet was the least sweat bet in a long time. I thought he was just coasting to a decision and then even a TKO until he kneed Diego square in his forehead and busted him open. I thought because it's Diego, there's a good chance because he's not the slickest guy out there that he might just continue. But he actually made the smart decision. A lot of people, said a lot of things about it, but if you've been beaten up for 13 minutes and you have the option of being TKO'd, best case scenario, losing a decision or taking a free win, I mean, basically, he did the smart thing there. So, I think he needs to hang it up. He's clearly not all there. He went from the yes cartwheel era into this, whatever he was doing with his bottom lip while they were announcing him. I don't know what, the fuck was going on there. But, I like Diego. He's a warrior. I just think it's time for him and putting him in fights like this so the guys viciously KO him to show him that he needs to retire. If he has been fighting it, I don't think it's the answer. Just let him or tell him that he has to hang it up similar to what they did with Chuck. Give him, some type of position. Of course, he can't be in an office. I don't think Diego's really that type. But there's things that UFC has guys doing, right? Like going out to do corporate things like meet and greets or whatever, But they always had Forrest and Chuck busy doing things, Matt as well. So there's something for Diego to do, even if it's working at the Performance Institute, doing things like that, because Forrest had a good gig over there. But to see guys like that just get fed to the wolves now, because that's what they're going to keep doing. UFC doesn't really care when it comes to that, and that's unfortunate. But took an L there, and then we had the main event. I'll talk about the parlay killer, Tim Means, in a second. But Jan Blazkowicz, that's what I get for picking against him. Now, Corey Anderson should have never gotten the pocket. Looking at the tape from the last fight, it was pretty dominant for Corey. Of course, Yan has improved. But based off of, not only that fight that was years ago, but also the Jacare fight where I did pick Yan to win. Same with Luke Rockhold. But I thought Anderson would kind of do the same thing, hold him up against the fence. But it would be, successful for Anderson and he would just grind out a boring win. But sure enough, Yan caught him and knocked him out clean. So big win for him. It's going to be John Jones, I think, if not Reyes next. I'm not sure if he's going to wait it out, but I think he has a title shot, waiting if he wants to hold on and see what happens with Reyes. But it's likely he'll fight again before he gets a title fight. And then, Tim Means playing the Morono role this week, getting KO'd after brawling with Rodriguez. If Rodriguez could have chose any scenario for that fight, it would have been a brawl. He got exactly what he wanted. Now, there looked like there was some animosity at the weigh-ins. I don't know if it was an ego thing for Tim, because it just looked like he was trying to get it back. Walking him down while he was rocked, taking a shot to give one while he was rocked. He got dropped at the end of the first round, and it was pretty much inevitable at that point that he was going to get finished. I thought it was going to be a TKO or a KO, but he got choked. So huge win for Rodriguez to come in and beat a guy like Means. I didn't expect that one. If you look at tape in a lot of these fights recently, you see a skill gap. But when it comes down to it, when you're in a cage and your opponent rushes you and you're not prepared, I guess these guys were kind of either so confident or nervous because they're such big favorites, one or the other, that their opponent takes advantage of that and just blasts them, knocks them out, and that's it. So many variables in the game. Even if, let's just say, Means was levels above, it didn't matter if he was willing to trade in the phone booth, right? But we'll get it back next week. This is the worst week since I started the channel. definitely a loss, right, when these didn't come through. Um, but the difference between last year, where we had that crazy run, still 10 out of 15 weeks is good. But in comparison to what it was at starting out 6-0, um, coming up again, we have Combate, Bellator, and that was the difference, though. The smaller promotions at the end of last year had a ton of events. So we would have, 3 events to bet on in a single week, multiple weeks in a row. And that left a lot of openings for, confident parlays, lines that were off. This year, there's really only been a couple lines to take advantage of, right? I think it was Ige and Brett Johns as far as dogs, Conor McGregor, Holly Holm as favorites, and a couple others, but not a whole lot of great options this year. There will be some coming up, though. Like I said, the smaller promotions putting on shows. Um, but yeah, that's about it. I will put out the full card prediction soon. I'm working on that now, so look out for that. And that's about it, guys. I appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.